Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. Motion for the adoption of the agenda is recommended by the superintendent.
Move approval.
The agenda, the short agenda, sir.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Powers, a second by Mr. Kennedy. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries 5-0. Do we have any citizens' comments? Seeing none? All right. School support services, Ms. Lane.
Good morning. I am here to ask the board to approve the instructional and support recommendations as listed on the goldenrod.
I move to support the instructional and support personnel on Goldenrod.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Counts, a second by Mr. Kennedy, to approve the instructional and support recommendations.
They got the pest control person.
Yes.
I was
that is
I
very
missed
exciting.
that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's been on there for
Yes,
ever.
we've had
I
that.
figured somebody should just go take the test.
Yes.
So, that's awesome.
All those in
Well,
favor?
welcome aboard. Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Susie, before you leave, would you tell them about our staff teaching? Yes. I just saw that. I'm sorry, Mr. Bishop.
We have about 8 to 10 administrators at the teach-in today in Orlando. Yesterday, there was a group that went in the afternoon to recruit recent graduates. And today they're at the teach-in, so everybody keep your fingers crossed and think good thoughts. This will start our recruiting. We will recruit the teach-in. Next week they will go to Pittsburgh. The week after we go to Philadelphia. We're back for a week and then we go to Boston and Minneapolis. We will also be recruiting in the meantime to UCF, UF, and then we are still waiting for USF for those dates. We're also recruiting, there's a minority group that does recruiting. We've been to Tallahassee, and we've got a group going on a Saturday to St. Leo. So the recruiting efforts are in full force. So,
And this was a big discussion last week at Superintendent's Conference, because every superintendent was talking about the shortages and the long-term subs, and they recognize through this first time, probably their history, that they've had issues getting elementary school teachers also. So, one superintendent stand up conference about things every day. So he said, what do I do? Go to Pennsylvania, go to this, and then, I would go to Pennsylvania if I were you.
absolutely not.
I would make that trip. So, and they were all talking about all 67 districts.
What are you saying? We got the Mullins from Pennsylvania.
We've got one of the.
We get people we like in Pennsylvania, we don't want anyone else going there.
Right, absolutely.
So, just to let you know, and I want Susie to share that with you, just to let you know, they're on full force right now, going out there.
And we also ask, the last few years, we ask our schools if they know that there's a teacher that's going to retire or resign, that they're moving out of state. We ask them to send the green forms as soon as possible. That way, on Monday, we posted our positions that we know that we're going to have for next year. We went ahead and posted those positions, so that's exciting. So people are applying and we're excited. So hopefully we'll be able to offer some conditional contracts today at the teach-in. That's our goal.
If you need to know how to talk Boston, talk to John Kilsante.
Absolutely, I will talk to him, yes. Thank you guys, so hopefully the next board meeting, I'll be able to share some good news with you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Bishop.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to request the board's approval of the interlocal agreement between the Citrus County School Board and the City of Inverness for solid waste services in the City of Inverness.
Move approval?
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Kennedy, a second by Ms. Counts. Do you have any questions or comments?
This counts as new problem in the garbage area, so. Would you just give her a short summary on how this happened,
Yes, ma'am.
please?
Long story short, the city of Inverness was able to substantiate they have home rule authority with their garbage collection and disposal of the garbage disposal. We in the school district petitioned to also enjoy the benefit of home rule. Once that went through the process, we were granted to, yes, it was granted that yes, you do have home rule. We met with the city of Inverness city manager, Mr. Giovanni, and share with him that we want to enjoy all the benefits of the home rule power. And in doing so, basically what it allows us to do is to take our garbage as we see fit, handle it as we see fit. As a result of that, we met with Mr. Giovanni and told him that we may have to go out to bid. It's within the best interest of the school board to go out to bid through work with Mr. Giovanni. He worked with his council, and they agreed to allow us to have them continue to pick up our garbage within the city of Inverness at the rate that we currently have on bid in the unincorporated areas of Central County. So we're just basically piggybacking off that bid as far as price.
That's Christopher River.
We have gone over and met with Mr. Burnell and Chris River, share with him our thoughts and plans. He was very amenable, very agreeable. We worked through Mr. Bradshaw, we worked through the city's attorney as well to draft the interlocal agreement that's here before you today. Now that we have that as our guideline, we're going to be drafting one for the city of Chris River as well. So we'll be coming to you in the coming board meetings to ask for your approval for the city of Chris River as well.
So
Now,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, thanks to Mr. Bradshaw for ferreting out these little minutiae things that really help.
I'll just get with you later. I've got a question about another issue, but I'll just talk to you later.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Good Matters.
Yeah, according to the AES contract that sent those to them at least 90 days prior to June 30 in regards to what we want to do with the company. So I just wanted to know that sent to them saying that we will agree to the contract and also says notification negotiation of the contract with AES. Otherwise,
Do we need to make a motion?
I don't know.
Where are we in that process of the contract negotiation?
Meeting with staff after this meeting to go over some HR reports and finance portion. How we Mr. Roll in regards to secondary education portion of classes and anything else that I think
And I would think that that would be in their own interest to tie it to the pupil progression plan because it's modified on an annual basis, it's reviewed on an annual basis as opposed to sitting in contract that does not.
But y'all know the other pieces, the HR piece and the finance piece, it would be substantially more in-depth as you take contract.
I move then that we direct the attorney to draft a letter to the AES board informing them that it's our intention to work through a contract and to continue with operations per his
It's just a notice saying, and I intend on.
recommendations, I think to say.
Contract, as long as you're successful. Otherwise.
Mr. Kennedy said motion, do I have a second? Alice, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Carries 5-0. Welcome. Any other business that needs to come before the school board? Mr. Mullen?
Having an open house. The art association, they're going to all the days, but great. So go down.
And beautiful art.
good water.
All right.
And the second thing, I know a few weeks ago I brought you meetings of ceiling people on him. And today, absolutely opposite. I was down Friday at Douglas, and there's a lady there who's in the parking lot. She's injured her head the day before, had a big back on her head. She was very disorderly. Her husband had just died. Everything was going wrong with this lady. And she was trying to park her car to look for these two items, the dogs. And she just couldn't make it. There's people in the lobby, not but the people in the public, I could not believe. They took her in, went with her with the basket to get the two items, and got her safe in the car. She was completely back. Totally disordered. And it is people who work there, as you know, and the rest of it, they're our students. So I was so very proud of them, proud of the group of humanity that would take the time to do that for each block for this person. It's not the first time I was kudos to that.
I'm just going to the little meetings, still very, very impressed with our SACS meetings and the student participation at SACS meetings. Amazing. Yes. And then the BNS is having a fish fry on Wednesday, we got a conference, we go into the seminar. It's going to be fun, it's going to be that way. And remember that zoning.
Just on Thursday, we have Crystal River Rotary Club has their Beast Feast at Rock Crusher Pavilion, and it benefits Blessings in a Backpack, as well as the community food pantries, which our students greatly benefit from. Thank you so much for your continual support and encouragement of Blessings.
Well, youth leadership citrus meets today, and either focus on health and agriculture. Some of the legal this we would go with them, but they have lunch at MB Dairy, and they can see the dairy, so that's a really part of cool leadership citrus. And then the only other thing, I just had a question, I think it might be good for the board's sake, is in reference to the process now with the traffic study at Lecanto School Complex, where we kind of stand on that. I know that there's been some discussion with the county, and I know Mr. Dixon is involved, but I'm just kind of curious.
Mr. Bishop's going to meet with Scott Carnahan, and they're going to discuss that and see what their board, how they want to move forward with that, because we know that if we enter with the traffic study, we can only pay for that on our property. Commissioner Carnahan is very aware of that, so we've had some conversations with him, and him and Mr. Bishop, and they'll bring back the proposal.
So is there still the possibility that we could be moving on something like this calendar year probably wouldn't take place until maybe next year? Is that kind of still the goal?
I don't know the timeline, but
Yes, sir. We can begin the process as far as design development after we have a conversation with the county, as Ms. Himmel alluded to. But as far as groundbreaking, we're talking summer of 18.
Yeah, right. We're not to, yeah, that's why I meant we'll take board action this calendar year. And,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then probably project follow. But there's a lot to be ironed out, right? There's a lot of things we have to.
There are a lot of things that have to be ironed out.
I'm confused. Are we talking about, because there's two separate issues. There's the emergency access road, and then there's the traffic study.
Right.
So which are we talking groundbreaking? Because the traffic study, that seemed to be a cost factor that was in the tens of millions of dollars in past studies.
Anything that we do as far as a traffic study will be on our property. There has been some conversation or thought that when we do the emergency access road to look at the traffic flow on our current campus at the Lecanto complex, we would do a traffic study for that on our property. As far as any kind of help funding the traffic study outside of the scope of our property, that's not something that we're able to do.
But there was a question that the request or expectation of the Board of County Commission to require us to have a study was not, I was just going to say, they've recognized that that's not an option that they do. So that goes back to then, where are we at then with the funding and the moving forward of their approval of the impact fee monies for the emergency access road.
I know Mr. Bradshaw sent a letter, if I'm not mistaken, you can speak to that letter if you like.
I sent a letter to the state, and I have not heard back from her. Maybe something that last week is when we voted to go ahead and agree, but we instituted school in that week. But I had sent her a letter saying that I was not believe that they had the ability to, their sole authority is to look at what we propose and see if it's for capital improvements. If it is, then they have to fund it. If it's not, and they're an expert. I agree that I think your staff agreed that it was for capital improvements, that they were trying to put attention to fund some traffic study. I don't have to give my letter saying we need a traffic study. We can work with them on a proportional basis, up to our property line, but we were not going to, be contingent on the traffic study. And I'll make myself available, so
No, not a problem. And you know, the other thing about the traffic study is, and you all were on the board, Ms. Powers and Ms. Hamill, I think you either were on the board or on the commission. I mean, or in the superintendent of the county. I mean, and Ms. Ginger, that there was a somewhat study done which took into consideration things that our school district needed to do, which were then done. And then there was a joint meeting that you all had in Inverness where those were addressed, those were vetted, and at that time, there was a conversation that the reason they couldn't do a secondary access, the county was not interested at the time, is because it was almost a $10 million project that the Board of County Commission would need to fund. So I'm somewhat curious as to what they think has changed, that they are not going back to their original information and reviewing that before they spend money on a study that's going to, in essence, tell them the same thing that they already know.
And to that, I can't speak.
No, and I know you can't, but I do think, you know, again, that's, the internal things, staggered bus schedules were something that we're talking about, those were implemented. There was a number of things implemented at that time, discovered and implemented. And we were past that, which goes back to the, I think, thing of what staff said. This entire issue was about having an emergency access road. So I'm still concerned that we need our emergency access road. And you know, we're kind of still at a standstill.
If I could interject here.
Yeah.
When the superintendent went over to the county commission last week, Mr. Blocker got up and spoke, and at that time, the commission did acknowledge that it had been approved by staff. That's a qualified expense for the use of the impact fee dollars. It's my understanding that the county administrators to send the superintendent a letter as to how to proceed from this point forward. And to my knowledge, you have not received that letter as of now.
Okay, so at least there is movement.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the thing, because they, to me, were very separate issues that were clumped together, you know.
And they recognize that too, so that's why we're expecting that letter, and the traffic study will be something that they will probably send us a letter to.
And that goes back, I guess, to Mr. Dodd's question of dirt on that, on an emergency access wouldn't even happen at this time for another year, or
Summer of 18.
summer of 18.
It's moving the earliest.
The early, yeah.
At the earliest summer.
Yeah, that's right, it could be later than, but I
That's
think,
correct.
you know, I am for working together for a solution to the big picture problem of traffic congestion and emergency access for our schools there. And I certainly agree with the fact that we should fund only the portion that applies to us. I think by law, it's all the kids. So, but I just think it's good if we can work and hear, both sides. I know Mr. Dixon, Bishop, are going to be working with them to come up with, see what their thoughts are.
I just think they need to encourage to go back and look at, and they haven't, and I don't think they have done that. I think they have an entire new board,
Yeah.
and.
I wasn't even aware there was a traffic study.
Yeah.
I mean,
We did one also.
You were a part of that at the time, and it was, it goes back to a joint meeting that the Board of County Commission and the school board had. You were chair at the time of the meeting.
In our study, and this is very simple what the study said, but it was very clear to us that we didn't have a traffic issue.
No.
That, there was one or two times a day the traffic backed up, but we did the traffic study on that piece, but we wanted to be very clear to the commissioners that the emergency exit and the traffic study are two separate topics. So we're moving forward on the emergency exit, we'll be working with them on the traffic study.
And part of the reason, Mr. Dodd, that in the study that they've done was that, and it really kind of was, Mr. Mullen actually was, I think, in several roles at that time, had to do with the power lines and the gas lines interfered with the road access that could be a secondary road access, which required it to go a number of the miles down the road in order to come back behind to do it. And that's why the cost of that is so expensive. And then there is there is case law that, as I understand it, that prohibits a school district from spending any money after their property line with regards to egress, and that goes to, I think it was Hillsborough or Pinellas County. There was a ruling on that.
It does not prohibit, so it does not.
Right. But it would.
I think you can enter into an agreement, but it doesn't say you cannot, but it says that you do not have to. Just so
Well, I mean,
But-
when we haven't had capital
sure.
to be supportive of, to be able to do that, certainly that could be argued that, had we had fees for a previous period of time, there could have been, resources to accomplish that.
Hillsborough County built a school, and it's required the county to build out some access. The county city to say, you should have to pay for it.
Right. And that's why I just say, one of these is, they're not inexpensive corrections to the issue, which is, I think, part of what the Board of County Commission understands, but I think they need to go back and look at that before they go so far down the road looking for a secondary access that is not going to be economically feasible.
Right.
I got a bunch of things, and I'll just buckle your seatbelt.
No problem. Okay, so Doug had a problem with the April dates for the master board,
Yes.
which means that if we do it, we've got to do it in September. Now, if this is something you'd like to do, we'll do it. If it's something you don't want to do, we won't do it. I'm easy.
I think a lot of people think about Doug and Sandy, I think because
We
we've
went
been
through
Mhm.
right
Well, for me, in my position, after being on the board for 2 years, I might feel a little more comfortable going through the process. Had I just been elected, I think I might get my certification, which I did, but I'll let this council decide what you want to do. But, certainly, I would consider it. I would like to know a little bit more. I probably will read up on the information on the website. But
Yeah.
how many meetings do we do that
Well,
for?
that's like a 2-day thing, but then there's follow-up,
I
where,
think it's 4 sessions.
where they come here for 4 hours twice, and then there's something else.
I think there's 4 sessions.
Mhm.
2 days out, and then they're back on.
Back here now.
And one of the things that's a little frustrating is if one of us is not a board member again, which is exactly what happened the last time we did it, within months, we literally got our installation and lost it. Because you lose it as soon as you lose a board member.
That's right.
So it's while it's still a good thing sometimes to go through, if it's being done for the certification of it, you lose the certification. That's why there's all those plaques or all this time that it's been done. And you have to do a new one for it. So maybe, I don't know if Mr. Dodd will know today, because it is an information to kind of go through and see what the training is.
And I think when they come back to our district, we get the people trainings, they give us
Yeah, we get a choice, but we need to be there. We need to be there. We can't just say, oh, I'm not gonna attend that one, because once you start, you gotta go.
And last time,
Because your name goes on the plaque.
Exactly.
Yes, we learned that.
Yes.
please.
You have to be here for all the hours.
And last time, we told them what we needed to do, and they modified the session that we needed.
Mhm.
And so,
Right.
You have to wait until I'm certified next year.
No.
No.
Okay. Because I should be an emerging leader by the time I get back from Tallahassee.
All right. I think you're emerging from already.
Well, I can put the hours I'm gonna get in Tallahassee, I think. Hopefully we have an emerging leader, and I've got meetings and,
Now, you can go through this without that.
Yeah.
but they know I'm
They're
working on it.
separate.
All right, be thinking about that while I tell you the
You have
The
dates
first
and-
mistake this one first, one second. The first mistake I found is April 1st is the schoolhouse hustle. We need to go to that. I go to that every year, so does Miss Himmel. We're walking. Yeah, we do.
Now that's not on here.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why
April 1.
April 1, it's in Canto, right in front of Christ. Yeah. Mr. Mullins there.
You can see him going back and forth 3
Yeah.
times, getting.
And his,
Doing it again.
His wife and her whole entourage right there.
I don't know if I'm gonna run this year or not.
Schoolhouse hustle.
Maybe. Good for you.
Yeah, Doug is there. Doug walked with me.
We wore a cape.
We both wore capes. Yeah, schoolhouse hustle. All right. And thank whoever did this for
What
us.
time?
Oh, that's early in the morning.
7:30,
7.
It's over by like 11, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for that, yeah.
Mhm. All right. And we've got an appointment in Tallahassee with Mr. Simpson at 9:30 on Thursday. And we've got a word out to Dr. Masulla's office. And we haven't heard back from them yet, but we'll hear back from them. Hopefully we'll get an appointment with them on Thursday as well. Which brings me to dinner. How many of you want to go to dinner with Dave Stevens on Wednesday with me?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, Doug? Okay. Just any extras in yours? I'm the only one taking my husband. He's driving me. And Miss Himmel. All right. Wednesday, 7:15. It's going to be, I've eaten at this restaurant. In fact, I ate there the last time I was in Tallahassee. It's called, hold on. Table 23. Table 23. Yeah, thank you. I thought so. After eating. All right, so we got Masulla, we got Simpson.
Are you going to the Christian invitation out there, everybody for the
Tell me, yeah, I think I did. Tell me when that is.
It's a double tree, 11:30.
11:30? Okay, and that's for Small County Consortium, all right. Writing that down?
So he's gotten cheap this year, he's not doing it with the donors.
And the reception is that night from 6 to 7 at the DoubleTree.
Got it. That's where I think we
So much for those chocolate shots. We'll just go there and get chocolate shots and come back.
just walk over. That's exactly. I like that.
Oh, and don't we tomorrow have Upward Bound? Yes, yes, Upward Bound. And then again on Thursday, but I've got an education foundation meeting, so I won't go to the one on Thursday, but I'll probably be there tomorrow.
We also have tomorrow, for those of us on pupil progression, there's pupil progression going on.
I have that on Thursday.
That's high school.
I have high school.
Yeah, I have middle school on Thursday, so I won't be there Thursday. I'll be there tomorrow.
I'll be there tomorrow.
We be there, we won't be there tomorrow, you'll be there.
I actually have to make a run because the speaker is my son at 6.
Oh.
At Upward Bound. He's one of the speakers, so I've got
Awesome.
to try and catch him for 5 minutes and then run over here. And
Over here, do what?
oh, pupil progression. I've got.
Oh, gotcha.
I've got high school pupil progression.
Ms. Counts, what is the thing that you're going to,
Up in Tallahassee.
no, here, for Homosassa? What day and when?
I'm going to Homosassa Elementary zoning, Wednesday, from 4 to 6.
From 46, and is that gonna be at Homosassa School?
Yes. And then Citrus Springs rezoning is 3:30 to 5:30 on the Thursday, the 23rd.
Okay.
Yes, you guys over here about the request to attend, if parents request to attend whatever school they want their child to attend. When does that come into effect? School choice.
July 1st.
July 1st.
You know, that's a question too, and I haven't even thought about it, but if we're rezoning, let's say Citrus Springs, and they're wanting to stay at Citrus Springs, do they, I would assume, even though it hasn't been voted on, would they then make their application now?
Well, they can do two things. You can decide as a board that you're going to grandfather students, which has been done in the past, or then they can do that as a.
Because I think in the past, it's been like grandfathering, typically the board's done like grandfathering for that, whoever's gonna be like the previous year, like if they're 8th graders, for the 8th graders of that year, it was grandfathered automatically, everyone else had to make.
It's been done different ways. We've had sibling clauses.
Right, yeah, that's true.
So in all kinds of different ways, but yes, you could either grandfather, just let the out-of-zone process take care of that, whatever the board decides.
Well, that's a good question. When will you first pass school choice? Is it July 1 is the first thing to pass?
But we need to apply for it. We need to apply for school choice. I mean, that process will begin this spring.
Okay.
But we'll bring it to you guys on in that table. We're meeting the zoning process.
Because I know there's some dates that we've set in place already that we agreed to. They had to make certain applications by certain dates, if I recall.
And we've always had, the students have always had the ability to request a different school to go to. It's been, we've had it out of zone form. It's been a little bit stricter as far as what their requirements or what they have to meet to do that. Now they don't really need to meet those requirements and they can request it out of zone.
We had that conversation with superintendent's meeting about their out of zones, and a lot of them get put, like, the ones coming from out of county, those kind of things, they get second choice. You know, if the school's open, some of them have put restrictions on there, some of what we used to do, so I think they're very clear, we just need to be consistent. And they've got a priority list on there, like, you know, they've listed, this is number 1 priority, if you don't need it, you go to this one. And even the foster kids, they got that down like on the 4 column list.
Some of that I think is in statute now with like fosters and,
And that one over.
yeah, that was
See what they're doing.
military, I think is another one.
Okay, so back to September 21st and 22nd, Master Board. Is that something we'd like to do? A yes or a no?
Well, I'll say this again, I'm not gung-ho for it, but if the rest of the board wants to do it, sees it really very important, I would go along with it. But it's not gonna hurt my feelings if we don't do it. So.
Is that?
I'm good, Bill, maybe we get on the kick and come back and go and cost, like, an hour.
All right,
Or we'll send it out to you before that.
that'd be good.
Vote on it.
No, but we need to know if we're going. Mr. Kennedy?
I feel the same way as Mr. Dodd. I think I'm on that same page. I'll support the board if the board's willing to. I don't have any huge burning desire to have to do it.
We just want the 2 years members to do.
Yeah.
Ms. Counts?
I'm assuming the master board is education
It is.
for matters of concern, school boards across the state.
And it's a little bit of,
I was gonna say, it's not, no.
No,
Yes,
it's
that's what it is.
I'm going through everything they're doing.
Right, it's more about working together.
camaraderie, getting over our
Getting things done.
Separation of
problems.
duties, making
Right.
sure that we support the superintendents, we let the superintendent do their
That's their
job.
purview.
And at this, right, it's the touching of that, but then it's also, how do we talk to each other? What are our rules that we have agreed to when we work with each other, and those types
We
of
got in
things.
trouble last time because it was a game.
Yeah.
Battleship game, huh, and you have to serve the pizzas or
We
we just
sold
told them, just buy all of ours, just give us money. So we sat them and said,
That's right.
no,
We found a shortcut.
But-
We just, yeah.
And one thing I learned was, I've been in Citrus County for 73, so I watched this for years and years, and we've always kind of complicated about it. And so I really, one thing that I learned through all of this is that there are boards that there's a lot of animosity.
They don't get along,
They don't
no,
get along. They don't get along with their
don't.
superintendent. I never knew that. until I went-
Lake County for years had a separate agenda.
Yeah,
There was one district that did not allow the superintendent to speak to the board.
yeah,
Also,
so.
lots of animosities.
Yeah, and so I will kind of hold on to words.
And then we got in trouble, not trouble, but they were frustrated with us because I asked the question, because I knew the answer, because our court attorney told me. When we go to those meetings, that's public record.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the presenters don't encourage that,
Information being put
yeah,
out.
because they'll say, just, let's all be open and just.
And honest, yeah.
And just say your feelings, and people are laying things out there, I'm thinking, I don't think they have that culture. And then I asked that question, and then they just backtracked, and what it is, it's all probably.
Here you go, using facts
And
again.
I think there's a cost to it too. See, I haven't.
There is a
had time
cost.
to-
There is a cost.
There's a strong-
There is a cost.
We have to wait for that,
Yes.
we have to pay what we're gonna reap the benefits from cost.
That's right. Okay, so you're gonna guess all that in, is that good with you, Mrs. Powers?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, at the last meeting we had, they did recognize that the school got along very, very well, so they said it was send us to the state, to the boards that Wes is talking about, then have to talk to them.
Well, we'll be gone live. There's a lot of, I mean, you do. I said superintendent's meeting, they said, you liable for us to do this, and the ones I said, well, we all laughed at them, say, why not, you know, the part that out depends on the agenda, and it's like, yeah.
My favorite is, depending on which meeting you go to, they have a different view of whether it's whose agenda and so forth, and we haven't had to deal with
Depends
those
on
type
who's
of
presenting that,
things.
but, yeah.
That's exactly what I found.
I would tell you, for 11 years, or 11 years, going all through school, I sit there on many occasions. I'm very thankful that I have a board that gets along. We disagree, but it's done right, and the superintendent that gets along, it makes this place work better. It's my opinion, because there are some places where it's just.
And the district comes to a standstill.
What it does is it helps our children.
There, here.
Okay, so I've got one more question, Ms. Bergeroni, maybe you can help me with this. I know I talked with you guys about recognizing the Homosassa Guides Association. Are we doing anything with that yet?
We can do that, you give us some questions.
All right, good, because I want those guys to be recognized. They have given up a day for the past 6 or 7 or 10 years to take the Homosassa kids. And this doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but some of those children have never been in a boat on the Homosassa River, and they live right there. And they do a good job.
And they teach
for our-
them learning, they
for our
measure
kids.
the fish, they use math to determine I mean, they go away, they didn't even realize they were learning all day long.
Yep, quite good. All right, so I think I'm,
Students too.
I think I'm done. Anybody have anything else? Adjourned.
Thank y'all for today.
Hey,
No problem.
thank you,
No problem.
thank you,
No problem.
thank you.
No problem.